Hi, welcome back to ODE YouTube channel. Today I'm here for another pen review, and today we are reviewing the Lamy Aion Dark Green, which is a special edition for this year, 2021. So let's see. First let me say that this pen was a loan from Appelboom for a review, but I actually like the pen so much that I decided to buy the pen from him. So now it's no longer a loan, it's mine, it won't be sent back. Now, I have also to say that this pen, I liked it quite a lot, to the point that I didn't, it is on my top 12 pens for this year of, for the first half of the year. So I make 3 videos about top pens in a year. The first one for the pens I received in the first half of the year. This one is on that top 12. I will make a video about the second half of the year, and then I make a final video, a shorter top pens that will try to choose the best from the best that I got during the year. So that's another stuff. This pen is a pen that I quite like, that's what I meant. It comes inside a cardboard box with a sleeve, paper sleeve that says Lamy and C. Joseph Lamy, the Heidelberg, and then the address made in Germany. You take the sleeve away, you have a box, hard one, it says Lamy in silver color. You open this, you have this kind of felt lining, it says Lamy there, design made in Germany. Then you have the pen, you take these out and you have the leaflet with the instructions, and you should have a cartridge. This did not come with a converter. The pen comes inside a plastic little bag, sleeve, whatever. You take that away and it comes here with this little paper that shows us the model, the barcode, and here the model. This is the Lamy Aion Dark Green, and then it says there it is the price of 55 euros. So here we have the pen. I have to say that this pen is very, very, very nice. First, this is a metal pen, which is something that I enjoy. It has a beautiful, beautiful dark green color. I like it a lot. The shape of the pen is, I would say, very simple. It is just a little less thick here and just a little less thick on the top of the cap also, but it's mostly a cylindrical pen with a very blocky, however rounded at the corners clip. Here it says Lamy metal clip, shiny one, and then the cap comes out just by clicking, and you have a matte surface. Even though this seems to have kind of a texture, I don't find it slippery. And I usually don't find metal pens slippery, but it is not slippery anyway. And you have here a matte section with no rings to make the transition, just from this more shiny to a more matte metal. Not sure if I said plastic. I'm not sure if I said that word before, but it's not plastic, it's metal, just different textures. The section is large, and yes, the section tapers down, and you have this nib. That may seem a little smallish for the pen, but I don't think so. Then you have the Lamy nib and metal threads, and it takes cartridges or converters, proprietary Lamy cartridges or converters. It is very simple. On the pen it says Lamy here and it says Lamy there. No other inscriptions, not made in Germany, anything. I really, really enjoy the very simple design of this pen. So, I already made a review of a similar pen some time ago, and the review I made was about this one. This is the black version. This is Lamy Aion Black. It was made in black and silver. Oops. Two versions. Those two versions were available, still available. Then there were special versions made of red and also blue. Those are not available anymore because they were special, and this is another special edition with the green version. They seem quite sturdy. I would be afraid of scratching them. That is why I don't post these pens. However, they can be posted. They post securely enough. They become very long. I'm posting the black because I don't love the black as much. This posts, and it posts in a way that it's still very comfortable. The cap is light, although it's not that light. It's hard to explain, but it really posts well, comfortably. You can use it, post it easily. However, I think it becomes a little bit too long. But it posts very well. I have to say that my biggest problems, I know this pen may not be perfect, and I think it is not perfect for many people. I think the biggest concerns about this pen is the risk of scratching if you post the cap. But because you don't need to post the cap, don't post it. It's just my opinion. If you really like to post the caps of the pens, you do it. But for me, it doesn't make sense to do in this particular pen. And also, there is something a little bit annoying about this pen. But for me, I still like the pen as it is that when it is closed, you can easily rotate the cap like this. It's not unscrewing anything, the section will not come out, but it just kind of freely rotates. And I know this can be annoying for some people. For me, it isn't, and I really enjoy the pen. You can see the full review that I made on this one. I'll leave link below for the review of these. But I also have to say that I want to talk a little bit more on the design, because it's what really interests me on this pen. First, this pen has it has two characteristics. It has the design in terms of shape, in terms of weight. It is a little bit, it's heavier than Lamy Safari, of course, maybe double of the weight, but it really is comfortable, but it is completely different experience from other pens. It doesn't have the triangular grip that Safari has, or it doesn't even have a flare out section there, so your fingers will not slip into the nib. It doesn't have that, but I think it's really comfortable. The size, the way you can write with it, it's really nice. So for size comparison, I usually compare the pens that I'm reviewing with a Lamy Safari, and I have here the Savannah Green, the original Savannah Green for 2021, so also special color. Here it is. It wants to go into its side. It's almost the same size. The Aion is a little longer. And then I have here a Parker Centennial Le Full in satin black. Like you see what I was saying about section flaring out, so you can be sure your fingers have a place to rest. The Lamy doesn't. This one, the Aion, doesn't have. But I don't find that a problem. You put it here and you can see that it has quite a good size. When you uncap all the three pens, you have the Lamy Aion being longer than the other two, which is nice. Now, this is one part of the design, the comfort in writing and the size. Let's go to another aspect of it that I really enjoy, and that is the kind of design. I have to say that Lamy makes a lot of pens, they make lots of Safari. I think it's their best known model, the Safari and the 2000, but they make lots of variations of the Safari. And lots of Lamy pens have the same nibs as the Safari, which are nibs like this that you find on this Safari and you find on this Lamy All-Star charged green, and it is the same nib. One is black, the other one is silver colored, but they are the same kind of nib. They have those little things that go into the feed. So they make this pen and they make triangular shape. So they made lots of variations of this with the same nib, and this nib goes on the logo ABC, Safari, All-Star, LX. It went into the Linea, the CP1, in lots of pens. So this, in Dialogue, this nib is really a standard for Lamy. And I think that makes some sense in a way, because they allow you to exchange nibs easily and try different sizes of nibs just by buying an extra nib and exchanging. And if you have you don't need to have lots of extra nibs to try all the nibs you have if you have just different pens from Lamy with different nibs. That's fine. I think they went an extra step with this pen. And I think that because they chose a nib design that is different from, it is finally different from the nib. Let me go for the silver one, just for an easier comparison. They made a different nib for this pen. It has the same size, it has the same feel, it has the same fitting system, so you can put you can exchange these nibs one for the other. They will work, but the shape is different, as you can see. This one is kind of triangular after this part, and that one is rounded, and I love this version a lot more. So this, I think, makes sense, in my opinion. So in a way, it goes away from the Lamy, Safari, Vista All-Star and so on in that particular detail. It doesn't have the triangular grip, so it's really a different kind of pen, but it has the same, it has the nib that is compatible but with a different shape. So they really went for a different design, but I think they went for a design that makes sense into their history and their previous models. So when you look at this pen, this is a Lamy pen and it's not another brand. And why is that? Because I think that this pen goes in the middle of two other pens. To me, this pen goes in the middle of the Lamy 2000. This is the steel version. So you cannot compare easily the colors, but you can compare the features, and the Lamy CP1. This is the steel version, which is also not available. But I think this pen goes a little bit in between. So let's go for some features. This pen has a very simple shape. If you look at this pen, it also has a simple shape, but less rounded. It's more a cylindrical pen. And when you look at the more cylindrical pen, yes, it is more similar with this one, with the CP1. If you look at the design of the clip of the 2000, it works like this, and it is quite blocky, but with lots of angles. Then you have this one, which is even straighter, but also with this spring. And you have this one that is more rounded, in that way it's less bulky, and works in the same way. So I would say it's the same kind of concept in the clip. The cap goes a little bit over the barrel, so I think it goes well in this kind of shape. However, the Lamy 2000 is a hooded nib pen, or semi-hooded nib pen, and this one is not. So there is a typical difference here, but you can see that the section of this one goes in a kind of the same curvature as the Lamy 2000. They both taper that way, but that one goes the hood until there, the section goes there, and then you just have the tip of the nib, and this one stops there. And if you imagine the line to the continuation of this section, I think the nib makes sense in that continuation. So it makes sense, it's not a big exposed nib. I think the nib is not that small, although it looks like that. This is a piston filler, this is a cartridge filler, and when you think about the cartridge filler, you'll go with this one. And you can see this one has the same kind of nib as the Safari, not the hooded nib. That kind of same nib with just a slight different shape. This one has a section which is different, but it is also a cartridge filler. So going over this pen was the first on this lineup. This was the second, and the last pen of this group was this one that I think in chronological order it comes here. In design it comes around here. It's more modern than those, but I think it has characteristics from both this pen and that pen, and I think this is something that I like. Now maybe some architect or designer will come into the comment section and say that what I'm saying makes no sense because design is not like that, but the way I look at the pens, I feel this kind of evolution in design, and this is something that I respect. They created something completely new. It's not completely innovative, but it is different from what they had, and they made a different thing that has something about the spirit of the brand, in my opinion. So it makes sense. When you look at these, let me go now for the color comparison. This is a metal pen with dark green. This is a metal pen with the charged green, which is a beautiful one. It's not comparable at all. You have another green here, but it is a plastic. If you want another metal green, you have the Kaweco Paladin Evergreen, the Hellsport Paladin Evergreen, which is it is a lighter shade of green. And for a plastic one, we have the new Kaweco Collection Dark Olive, which is a darker shade also. So we have here lots of small different variations which are fine in terms of color. Now I just want to go back in design and think about something else. As I told you, this pen for me is in between Lamy 2000 and Lamy CP1. However, when I look at this pen, it reminds me about another design. I'm not saying they are copies, because I don't think they are, but they have some stuff in similar, which is this one. And this is the Parker Reflex, which is a pen that I don't really like because it cracked, and when a pen cracks on me, I just don't like them much more. But when you look at those pens with kind of rounded ends, this one have this like a jewel there and the jewel there, let's call it that way. It's like an insert, but they are both rounded. They have almost the same size, the same aspect. They have different clips because Parker goes for the arrow clip. This is a very springy, but not it doesn't work like that, pressing there. But otherwise, I think the looks of the pen are very similar. And mostly when you look at this kind of bulky section that is very large and allows you to hold it wherever you want, it also reminds me of this pen that has an extra ring there, but then it has this large section, which is rubbery and texturized, so you don't your fingers don't slip over the pen, but that's something that comes to my mind. And when I think about this, I would say that this pen clearly comes from the Parker 45. It's kind of the same inspiration, and if we remove the cap, yes, you can see that the inspiration is there. It comes from the Parker 45, and the Parker 45 in a way comes from the Parker 51, and the Lamy 2000 comes from the Parker 51. So I'm not saying all these pens are copies of the others, but it's so nice to see that some pens get their inspiration from other pens, and at one point we are looking at similarities, like of a converging evolution of pens, no longer related, but you can see they go in parallel ways, which is fun. Now, just for a final comparison, because this is something very special that I have in my collection with the Parker logo there, this is a Parker 45 Coronet. It has a little bit distorted section, some scratches, and it is also a metal pen with a green color, but as you see, it is a different shade of green. I don't really have any other pen with this shade of green, which is beautiful. So, this is all. This is lots of talking. Let's go for the writing sample. And here we are with pen and paper, and let's see how the pen works. So, it was unkept for a while I was writing, so when I was showing the pen, so let's see if it works or if the ink dried in the nib. This is it works. The Lamy Aion dark green, the edition for 2021, and this one has a fine steel nib. The paper that I'm using is the usual Rhodia dot pad, and the ink on this pen is this. This is from the Inkvent calendar, Diamine Inkvent calendar from 2019. So ink is Diamine Inkvent calendar 2019. The color is mistletoe, and it is quite a fun color. So, what can I say about this pen? This pen, first, about the gripping of the pen. You can hold the pen like this, or you can hold the pen higher. It has no step, so if you wanted, you could almost write like this. It's up to you. It is comfortable in every place. So, about the writing experience. This nib has some feedback, and it has almost like a drag. It's hard to describe. Do you know the feel of the pens that have black coating? It's like that. It has quite a heavy feedback, not scratchy. It's not scratchy at all. You can easily understand that, but it has that pencil kind of feedback, which I like. I prefer it this way. About line variation, you can try to press it for some line variation, but you can't really find any. It's just a stiff nib, the regular Lamy stiff nib. It is more on the dry side, as I think it is usual with the fine nib from the Lamy Safari. Although the nib is just a little different in design, don't expect to have a different performance. But about the drag, the feedback of the nib, it is a lot. It is amazing how much feedback this has, and I'm saying this in the positive way. I have here this Lamy CP1 that I already reviewed. And if this was a fine, it would have the same amount of feedback. I think it has just a little bit less because it has a medium nib, but it's perfect. I really enjoy this kind of feeling when I'm writing. About the writing experience, you can Lamy Aion dark green. You can really write fast or slow in every direction. It's really good pen. I really enjoy it. And then it has this kind of appearance that you show this pen to someone and there is no one that's going to say, oh, that's an expensive pen that I'm going to... It's very, very simple, very understated. I really enjoy this pen. It's hard to explain, and maybe you can understand by my words how I like the way this pen writes. It has many perfect things. The worst part of this pen is, as I told you, the way the cap rotates almost freely, and there are people that don't like that. So, this was the review of the Lamy Aion Dark Green. I have to thank you, Mr. Appelboom, for giving me the chance to try this pen as a loan, and then I bought it because I really think it deserved. It is on my top 12 pens for 2021, and I have to thank you all for watching my videos. It's very important, your support, and if you want to keep supporting me, please don't forget to like and subscribe to the video, and most of all, keep coming back for more videos like this and some other different ones. So this is all I had to show you. By the way, this fine nib is really a fine, it's not like a medium fine. I hope to see you soon here. Bye.